He laughed before the first shot. It was March 24th, 1931. When two men entered the lobby of the Lexington Hotel in uptown Manhattan, it was here that one of the most notorious gangland hits of all time would be planned. Today, we are going to look at one of the most famous crimes in Mafia history. As we look back on this crazy crime spree, let us know in the comments if you think the Mafia is scary or not. These four men would become known as the Mafia Commission. His body showed signs that he had been tortured before his murder. And what made the case even more gruesome was that he was found wearing police clothes. This meant that there was a traitor among them, and it was long before suspicion started to arise. Mafia had suspected that Lansky was the rat, and he was right. This was just a setup, and he was quickly released. But the damage was already done. Luciano had enough proof to make a move against him. Luciano wanted Lansky dead, but he was unable to get to him. He served a year in prison before being released, and went straight back to work for the family. There had been a huge shakeup, and he wasted no time in consolidating his power. Within a decade, he had made himself the boss of bosses. Lansky had taken all of his money and jewels and put them in a safe deposit box in Manhattan. Once Luciano realized that Lansky had cleaned out his bank accounts, he gave up on having him killed. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes a family would go rogue and break the rules, because they both played significant roles in shaping the Mafia into the criminal organization we know it as today. The killing of Mafia resulted in the end of gang warfare and the formation of the five families. The death of Hoff paved the way for Lansky to join the ranks of the bosses. And it was his inside knowledge that helped to bring down many of the biggest crime bosses in American history. And when that happened, the commission would step in and put things back in order. The planning that went into each hit was unlike anything seen before. They also leaked information to the press about the arrest, ensuring that Mafia's reputation as a ruthless killer was cemented in their minds. The police never discovered that Luciano and Lansky were behind the killing, and they remained powerful figures in the Mafia for decades. For instance, the murder of Mafia required incredible precision. We've been looking at some pretty crazy crimes lately, and we have another video coming up that you might enjoy. Luciano assembled a team of snipers and gave them clear instructions. We hope you learned something new. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other. The first shot was supposed to be a warning, but it ended up being fatal. They were ready to fire the second shot when Mafia's body hit the floor, but Luciano stopped them. This meant that the meetings never went anywhere and the violence continued. He said he's already dead. Why do I need to shoot him in the head? Then Luciano yelled at him, don't you understand? We can't let him live to identify us. So the assassin shot Mafia in the back of the head. But it was only a matter of time before the police caught on to what was happening. Luciano sent two men to meet Castellano and tell him that he was wanted for questioning in connection with Hoff's death. As soon as Castellano got into the car, the men drove him out of town and shot him in the back of the head. On May 19, 1931, Luciano had Castellano whacked. The police hadn't been involved in the killing, and neither had Lansky. This told them that they needed to keep their mouths shut or risk losing their lives. With Mafia gone, the peace talks could finally begin. They hired gunmen to stake out the Lexington Hotel, where the meeting took place, and anyone who came out of the hotel was killed. After everyone who witnessed the murder was dead, they went back to the hotel and planted evidence to make it look like Hoff had been killed by a member of Mafia's gang. Lansky had been working with the police the whole time. Each family was led by a boss, and under his command was a consigliere, or a counselor, an accountant, and a treasurer. Together, they formed the Mafia Commission, which had control over all racketeering activities in the United States. In order to gain Luciano's trust, Lansky made sure that he was at Mafia's side when he died. They decided that they needed to kill Hoff and set up a meeting with some associates to discuss how they were going to do it. You see, the three of them had met with a number of gang leaders in order to come up with a way to end the gang war that had been raging in New York since 1928. During the meetings, they had discussed the idea of forming a commission to settle differences between the five major crime families. But Mafia objected every time they tried to bring it up. He wanted war, not peace. But it would be days before these men met again. The men were none other than Lucky Luciano and Meyer Lansky, two of the most influential gangsters of the era. They had come to meet with two other mobsters from rival families to plan the demise of a man named Max Bobohoff, a ruthless killer, who was now an informant for the police. This meeting would lead to one of the most important events in Mafia history. It's me. Welcome to my channel. Now let's get into the video. Luciano and Lansky met with Joe Masiria and Frank Castellano in the lobby of the hotel. On March 26, 1931, the body of Max Bobohoff would turn up on the doorstep of the 51st Precinct station house in Manhattan. For weeks after the murder, the gangs in New York carried out a series of killings. One by one, they murdered people they thought might have been involved in Hoff's death until suddenly it stopped. All of a sudden, it seemed as though the secret was being taken to the grave. Everyone wondered who had killed Hoff and why. The police didn't have any leads, and the public was left in suspense. But in reality, the Mafia was about to change forever. The first shot was fired on April 15, 1931, when Masiria was gunned down on the orders of Luciano. A few days later, Castellano was arrested for possession of a forged $20 bill. With the other three members of the original commission dead, Lansky was left alone. In 1932, Luciano was convicted of possession of a hypodermic needle used for shooting heroin. But why did Luciano allow Lansky to escape? And why did he kill Masiria and Castellano? Masiria was a cold-blooded killer who led with his fists. If someone crossed him, they didn't live long. After Masiria's death, the other bosses began to take notice. This led to the formation of the five families: Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese. From then on, any family that wanted to go to war had to get permission from the commission. This prevented future gang wars from breaking out. So why do we remember the assassination of Masiria and the murder of Hoff so vividly today? But it wasn't just the deaths that were significant. There is a story about what happened next. When Luciano ordered the second sniper to shoot Masiria in the head to finish him off, the gunman burst out laughing. The killing of Castellano was also carefully planned. Now, if you think that sounds brutal, wait till you hear what happens next. After Hoff's death, Lansky and Luciano decided that they needed to eliminate anyone who might have seen the murder. Then they informed the police that Masiria was behind the killing, and soon he was arrested. In the end, the plan worked perfectly, and the heat was taken off them. Do you think the Mafia would still be around if it wasn't for these hits? Let us know your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this video, then check out some of our other ones you might like. Thank you for watching.